Assalamu alaikum, family. This year, another wonderful episode of 101 Muslim Stories. I'm your host, Godfrey Brunn, and today I have a civil rights advocate and an attorney, and Miss Deedra Abu. Deedra, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
Awesome. You guys know I love to work on my lingo and make sure I do everything the right way as I grow in Islam. So Deedra's here. She's going to tell us an amazing story, her story, and I'm so interested in this story. I'm telling you, she's a convert of over 20 years. She's going to go into it. Deedra, let's start off. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I was originally born in Arkansas, born and raised, and my family is from Arkansas and Oklahoma. Okay. I grew up there as a Southern Baptist, not a fundamentalist, just a Southern Baptist. There's a difference.
Yes.
And and in 1998, I moved to Arizona, and soon after attended a mosque and decided to become Muslim, and then became a civil rights advocate, and then an attorney, and then I ran for U.S. Senate for the state of Arizona, so a statewide campaign.
Wow.
I've written a book called Campaign Chronicles that actually just is a bunch of conversations that I had on the campaign trail that people find shocking, funny, and disappointing and uplifting.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's actually really interesting. It reminds me in 2020, it seems like a lifetime ago, but there was a show called Tiger King, and they in a portion of they talked about the campaign trail, and we got to see a little bit of like how crazy it was in that. But I could imagine anyone that campaigns, and you guys probably have some of the craziest stories when it deals with people and kind of like that whole campaigning process and things of that nature.
It's pretty crazy. And in Arizona, my aim was to demonstrate how a campaign should be run, in that it should actually include the people who were voting. So I traveled all over the state. Sometimes I had 6 events a day. I traveled 75,000 miles in 16 months.
Wow.
I never turned down an invitation from any group if I could physically fit it into the schedule, which means that I also went to many areas that had never met a Democratic candidate before, much less a Muslim who wears the scarf, and won hearts and minds. Yes. And that's really what it's all about.
Alhamdulillah, I love it. I love it, sister. That is beautiful. Oh man, thank you for your work. That's amazing. I have family in Arizona, and they tell me how hot it is there. And so for you to be wanting to campaign in Arizona, it's a beautiful state, mind you. I'm not knocking it by no means. It's a beautiful state, but for you to be there in that hot state and being on the campaign trail, all hats off to you. More power, because that's amazing. That is amazing. Arizona,
it was the most fun.
Florida,
it was the most fun I've ever had.
Oh man, see, and I'm going back. I love Arizona. It's a fun state. Maybe we can have some time there and do some more campaigning, some civil rights stuff, some civil service stuff. That would be amazing. So let me ask you, Deedra, as a convert, you mentioned to me that you've been a convert for 20 years, over 20 years, or roughly 20 years. Tell us your story. How did you find Islam?
Well, basically, I was taught from a very young age in school, because we teach religion in school in our world religions classes.
Beautiful.
And I'm conflicted sometimes on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I was taught in 6th grade when we were doing global cultures that women were property of men in Muslim countries, and that they had to walk 2 steps behind the man with their head down. And the only Muslim countries that were ever mentioned were in the Middle East. So, even though we have 54 majority Muslim countries in the world, only 14 or less get to be total representations. Absolutely. And only 1 actually. Yeah. And in 7th grade, when we were studying world religions, my teacher happened to also be my Sunday school teacher. I went to public school, but by coincidence,
yes.
Small town.
Yes.
And I remember after we studied each religion, we would finish the chapter and she would say, and all of those people are going to hell. And except including Catholics, but not Protestants.
Wow.
And I remember thinking in 7th grade, wow, you know that. I mean, what if somebody else is the one going to heaven? And I mean, you don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I questioned things. I always wanted to know why, and for everything.
Yes.
And then I went to college, and I was a very forceful advocate for women's rights, as I still am.
Yes.
And so when I went to college, I would go up to all the Middle Eastern exchange students and tell them they were all going to hell because they treat their women poorly. And then they would explain to me the difference between culture and religion. So I decided to go and get a Quran so I could teach them, me, after 1,400 years of information. I was going to be the one that taught them that their religion was wrong. And I couldn't find a Quran in Arkansas at the time. And we only had one mosque in Little Rock, where I was in the capital at the time, and it was really just a house that some students would congregate in,
Yeah.
And I had asked them once, if I could go to the mosque to get information about Islam, and they replied to me. Remember, this was like 1997-ish. They replied to me that they didn't know if women were allowed at the mosque.
Oh, wow.
And so I happened to go to Houston to visit my sister, and we were going downtown, and there was a Middle Eastern store, and every Middle Eastern store has a bookshelf.
Yes.
So I sell books. So I found a Quran and bought it. And so then I started reading the Quran and taking the Quran to all those Middle Eastern exchange students and saying, hey, see, this is wrong, and they would say, but read the next verse. And so eventually it became less of, this is, look, explain this, you're wrong.
Yeah.
To explain this, I need to get more information. And in 1998, I came to Arizona on vacation with my mom because she had a conference and I had some vacation time saved up that I was going to lose if I didn't use it.
Yeah.
So I absolutely fell in love with Arizona. I immediately went home and took gave them a 3-month notice. I said, August 3rd, I'm out of here.
Yes.
I moved across country where I didn't know one person, didn't have a job, and didn't have a place to live.
Yes.
And figured that out in about 2 days.
Oh, wow.
After arriving. And then I went to an open house at the mosque in Tempe, and met some people and started gathering information. And the more I gathered, the more, I was like, yeah, this is for me. Yeah. And then I decided to convert. And then that led to, civil rights work and all kinds of things. I became a civil rights advocate for a Muslim organization in July of 2001. So wow. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
9/11 happened. And I also became Muslim 3 days before Ramadan that year.
Wow. So, wow. That's beautiful.
I'm all about both feet.
That's it. All in. So that must have been the most enlightening, Ramadan of all time at that point for you. Absolutely. I can imagine. Yeah. Those first Ramadans are they're really, really intriguing. They're exciting. They're fun. You're excited. And it's you just did your Shahada then. It's wow. Oh man, that's amazing. That's amazing. MashaAllah. I love it. So sister, let me ask you, we've been going into some very touching points, some good topics, but let me ask you this question. This is probably the most serious question I ask anybody. It's the toughest question, by far, toughest question I ask anybody. If you were blessed with one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, visiting history and historical people and seeing things, observing in the moment, rather than just reading retellings.
Oh wow! So basically a variation of time travel, but from a third person's lens. So basically, you would be able to see and view history in its actual time. That's beautiful. Right. That's actually really good. I like that. Okay. All right. I like it. Me, I'm simple. I say super strength, so I can carry big buildings or something. I want to carry a mosque to Haiti or something. I don't know. That's just how I think. So I love all your answers so far, sister. It's an amazing interview. I had one last question for you. as a convert, someone who's been in the Ummah for many years, 20 plus years, what is something that you would leave to any new convert or any person that maybe is on the edge of converting to Islam, or maybe not even either, that might just be, you know, open to information? What's something you would want them to know that you feel like isn't known in the common mainstream world?
One of the most important things for me in Islam was the ability to question anything and search for knowledge. I had very good teachers, but I was taught from the very beginning that questioning for purpose is 100% accepted in Islam. Yes. And that, you know, basically God gave us a brain. The information is available. You can find it if you really, truly want to find it. Absolutely. And in Islam, everything has a practical reason for being. So my litmus test is, if someone tells me something, and you know, even though I've been Muslim for 20 years, I still have people who are already Muslim telling me, did you know X, you know? And but the thing is that everything in Islam, if someone tells me something, Islam says X, even a Muslim.
Yes.
And I will, if it doesn't make sense to me, I will ask why. Right? Why is a powerful question to me. Yes. And too many times Muslims cannot answer why. They can just give you a rule, but they can't answer why. Absolutely. And what I have found is if there's not a why, either they are misunderstanding the application of the rule that they are regurgitating, or the rule is simply wrong.
I love it. I agree wholeheartely. Look,
and then I search. And then I search.
Find the truth. Find the truth. That is the biggest thing I've learned in Islam. Is it's about truth. There's no question to anything. There's no bad question to anything. You go and you find the truth to it, and if it makes sense and the truth is going to be there, it's on the table. So I thank you so much, Deedra. This is an amazing interview. Is there anything you want to promote before we head out? Anything you're doing?
Oh, I'm writing books and advocating on social media for political issues. And by the way, everything is political. Do not pretend it is a pretense. Yes. that you cannot be political. The moment that you don't look like everybody else or don't have the same belief as everybody else, you are political.
Yep. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Not with 100 years. Thank you so much, Deedra. I appreciate you for your time. Thank you for all the work that you do for the people, Muslim or not. You do amazing work. We thank you again here at American Islam. And I'm signing off. Your host, Godfrey Brunn. Guys, I'll see you for another story. Assalamu alaikum.